YouTube, B Smokehouse back here with you today, and what I currently have here is a whole fried chicken. This is one of the organic ones. It's been salted overnight. I trusted last night. I did not record that. My trusting skills are not up to par, and it probably took me a little bit longer than it should have. You can see we've got salt here on the board. It's absolutely salted. Look at that skin. This is one of those air dried chickens. So we're going to get this on our rotisserie today, because today we're going to be making an all-white chicken pizza. So that cool air of the refrigerator has absolutely helped me to draw out this skin. I did notice that some stuff on the back is not dry. That's fine. I've got a fire started on my Weber Kettle. I have a universal rotisserie attachment that I'm going to be using to get this done. This is going to be my protein for my white chicken pizza. We'll have some other things making an appearance, but to keep all things white on my pizza, instead of making a tomato-based sauce, I'm going to make a bechamel. That's typically butter, flour, and then seasonings of your choice. Again, those seasonings will keep the theme going of being all white. There will be some things in there that aren't white. However, this sauce will still remain a white sauce. Let's get this show on the road. I am currently watching my Texans play, and I'm a bit worried at the moment. Our defense seems to be showing some life towards the end of the second quarter, sorry. But I'm a bit worried. Minnesota seems to have a pretty good team. I'm putting, this is olive oil, grapeseed oil as a binder. I'm going to get some seasonings on this chicken. I did salt the inside as well. You can see what that salt has done. Let's see, can you see that? It's going to help us get a crispy skin. However, the purpose of me cooking this for my pizza is not necessarily for a crispy skin. I don't need to go on with any more salt. That's already on there. So we're going to get the back first. So I'll season it now. Then once I get it on the spit for the rotisserie, I'll season it up again. I know there's going to be spotty. However, we won't be eating the skin on this. I'm really doing this to keep that meat nice and juicy so we can use it as a protein on our pizza. I realize I don't have any rotisserie videos on my channel. I see others doing rotisserie. I've done plenty of rotisserie things before I actually started recording for YouTube. So this is kind of the motivation for this. That looks nice and even. But this rotisserie is going to keep this chicken nice and juicy. That's what we're looking for. Now we're going to go on with garlic powder, granulated garlic. All right, nice even coverage. Because we're using a live fire with this rotisserie, I don't necessarily have a cover that fits because of the rotisserie attachment I'm using. It is a universal attachment, so it's not one of those fancy ones where I can use the rotisserie on the Weber and close my Weber up, which will take some time off this cook. Now we've got a bit of wind, so I do expect this to take a few hours, a little bit longer than we would on a calmer day. I'm okay with that. I have nothing else to do today. Maybe give my dog a bath here in a little bit. So now we're going on with some, can you see that? Italian seasoning. Trying to keep an Italian theme going here. I find that as I was, coming up with this recipe, that keeping the sauce white. Of course, the chicken meat will be white, but that white theme, sometimes you're actually limiting some of the seasonings that can be used. However, this is my recipe. There will be a splash of color making an entrance, but we're still going to roll with it. And this will still be an all-white chicken pizza. I've seen other YouTubers do this in a more professional setting, and it comes out absolutely fire. All right. So that looks well. we're going to let it sit here while my fire gets up to temp, and then we're going to get this on the spit. Alright, stay tuned. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get this chicken here on the spit. Like I said, I do have a fire running on my 22-inch Weber Kettle. Again, this is a universal rotisserie attachment. So it'll basically fit any grill that you have. Pellet grills, this was made pretty much for anything outside cooking by way of heat. There's also a ground stand for this. I don't have that ground stand, where you can stick a rod in the ground, prop your protein up on the spit over a fire. Let's get this in there. Main thing about this is getting it centered, using these counterweights so that chicken cooks evenly. Stays juicy because the entire thing rotates. Let's see. Getting it as tight as possible. Now I know with this particular device that over time I will have to tighten these knobs up, and that's fine. But initially you want to be able to get it on there and secure it really tight. So this particular rotisserie kit I got from my local Lowe's home improvement store. Now I was looking for a Weber specific one, because with the Weber specific one you can kind of harness all the heat by putting the top on. The kit allows you to put that top on. Actually, I think we're looking pretty good. Now over time, as this cooks, the fat start rendering, that skin crisps up, then maybe the tines and everything will move. However, I'll adjust it as they adjust. Not a big issue. Alright, so now we're going to re-season, recoat some of this stuff that may have come off, and that's fine. And then I'm going to let this set out for a bit, hitting it back up with some black pepper. Again, we're not really concerned about the skin on this. My goal in cooking this on the rotisserie is keeping that interior meat juicy. Keeping it juicy. Alright, I think that's going to be about it. Still see a lot of those Italian seasonings on there. I'm okay with that. Alright, stay tuned. I'll bring you guys back when I get this on the rotisserie and spinning. Stay tuned. Alright, this is my rotisserie setup. As I told you, this is a universal rotisserie made to fit with these prongs for any grill that you use. Alright, you see the other prong over there? Now, I do realize that my chicken is a bit low, so what I will do is, probably the next hour or so, I'll be watching, making sure we've got no burning. You can already see these legs are starting to cook, pretty fat, and I'm okay with that. I'm just looking for a juicier product when I go and I pull this, because I'm going to pull this chicken. The meat will be pulled off the bones. The skin will more than likely be discarded. All right. So we're gonna let this run. I'm thinking it's gonna take, maybe an hour or two, maybe a little bit over that. I'm cool with it. Today is a relaxing Sunday. All right. I might come out here and start spraying with butter, which you might ask, why would I do that if we're going to be discarding the skin? Any way I can enter flavor in this chicken, I'm going to absolutely do, to make sure that our all white pizza is flavorful. All right, stay tuned. A little closer. All right, here's how we're looking. This is a little bit over an hour in, about an hour, 5 hour, 10 minutes. I'll give it another 15, 20, 25 minutes, and I'll start probing. We'll take it off with the rest, and then I'll get this chicken pulled. Stay tuned. See that color? I like that color. Not really worried about the skin, but the skin is absolutely crispy. You can see those juices. See that moisture coming out of that skin. You can also see that fat bubbling that skin. Now, every 15, 20 minutes, I have been spraying with canned butter to make sure that we get some crispy skin. All right, stay tuned. All right, we're about finished with this chicken. Let me Let me give it another rotation or two so I can probe those breasts. The thighs are about at 190, 180. The thighs can take it. Still juicy. You see that grease bubbling off there? The skin color got a little bit darker than I would have liked it. However, like I said before, we're not going to use that skin. All right. See where we're at. So that is 177, 179, 180. That's fine. Still climbing. 190. We're done. All right. We're going to go ahead and get this taken off. I'll bring you guys back when I'm getting ready to let this chicken cool and go ahead and pull it. All right. Here's that chicken, fresh off the rotisserie. Look at that juice coming out of there. Now, it has been about 30 to 45 minutes. It's been sitting here. I'm going to go ahead and get it off this spick so I can go ahead and start pulling it. I want to show you why I chose to do rotisserie over, just chicken done any other way. And I think you can kind of see those results. All that juice is going to stay here reserved in this pan. Here shortly, I'll also be making my white sauce for these pizzas. Let me get these tines out. Get this other tine out. It's absolutely juicy. And then now we're going to commence with the pulling of this. I want to stay where you can see it. So I have to cut. Got to get these strings cut so I can go ahead and pull this. It smells like rotisserie chicken. It smells pretty good. This is probably one of the best rotisserie chickens I've done in a while. You can see it's juicy. That meat just wants to come up off there. And that's fine. Again, not really using the skin. You can hear the crispiness. Now this could have absolutely stayed on rotisserie a bit longer. Again though, I don't want to be up all night making these pizzas. Alright, I've got hungry people here. So, let's go ahead and get this string cut. Let's, you can see that meat just wants to come up off there. I'm absolutely cool with that. Let's get this. Let's see. Now that this chicken is cooked, this butcher's twine don't want to come off of here, but we're gonna get it off. Got to get it off. There it goes. Make sure we pull it out of there. Here's the other pieces. All right. There's no more left in there. Again, I'm still gonna be going through this as well to make sure no one gets a piece of this. Again, this chicken's gonna get pulled. So that also means removing all of the bones. Don't gotta be perfect with it. Oh, look, that just wants to come off there. Look how juicy that is. We pulling this skin off. I know my dog's probably behind me watching every move I make. He's been smelling this. Going crazy. Alright, can you see that? Look how juicy that is. It's dripping juice. That's the whole purpose. Now, one of the things that also helped with that crispy skin is that I got an organic air-cooled chicken. These chickens are usually set out in cool air, which helps dry that skin off, so you don't have a problem doing so when you get ready to cook it or do whatever you want to do. So that's better in the oven, better on your grill. That little step in itself aids in getting crispy chicken skin. All right, now let's get some of this sinew out of here. We're going to break this chicken down. Again, this is going to be my meat, my protein for this white pizza that I'm doing. Everything's coming along pretty good. I've already got a lot of my, look at that, juicy through and through. That overnight brine, that dry brine, absolutely helped. That's one of the steps I absolutely love doing with chicken, all chicken. I started to just get chicken thighs, but I'm like, nah, I got the time. Let's get a whole chicken. It's a bit cheaper. If you don't know, every time that butcher puts his hand on that chicken, it costs you a little bit more. So it's best, it's best to just get your own whole chicken and do it yourself. It's cheaper, most certainly. Get some of that chicken off that skin. It got a nice smokiness. I can smell it. But because it was an open air cook, it's not too smoky, as it more than likely would have been on my stick burner. Alright? I know for some, these breasts is really hard to nail on the doneness. It's either underdone, overdone, too dry, not cooked through enough. Look at that. This is coming straight off the bone. Look at that. Look at that meat. Still juicy. And this was well over 180, 190. Look at that. That's what you want. So what I don't want to happen is because I'm gonna shred this, it's gonna go on top of the chicken. So on top of the pizza, it's gonna be exposed to the high heat of my oven. I don't have a pizza cooker yet. I do have a stone that I'm going to use to make sure that the bottom of that pizza gets done the way I want it to get done. Some of these pizzas I'm going to want crispy, and some I'm going to want a traditional crust, but we'll see. We will see. Nothing too hard. The smells coming off this chicken is amazing. Again, everything's still moist. Everything's done too, done through and through. Again, that dry brine, getting that salt all the way down to the core of the chicken, the bone. That's what you want. Again, just another flavor player, if you will, in this recipe. There's that kill bone. Get that out of there. This is still really hot. I could have waited a little bit, but it's juicy, so I'm not really worried about it drying out. There's that wishbone. And it's done all the way through, right? That's what you want. So we're going to go ahead and get the rest of this pulled. I'm probably going to go back through and re-season this because, again, it has salt. Remember, salt is seasoning. Everything else is additional flavor. So we're probably going to stick. We're going to stick with that Italian theme. I might introduce a few barbecue flavors. Don't have a problem with that. And then we're going to set this to the side. Last night I also prepped my dough. Simple dough recipe. Right now, so I let it proof for about an hour last night, and then I put it in my refrigerator for a cold ferment. Slows down that yeast sugar producing and eating process, and it deepens the flavor of that crust. So this specific pizza dough recipe is really for thin crust pizzas, right? I did use bread flour. I tried looking for some of those fancier pizza flours. Could not find them. So there are plenty of recipes online using bread flour. Could have used all-purpose flour, but I happen to have some bread flour on hand, so that's what I use. Right now it's coming to room temperature, and then once it's reached room temperature, it's not cold, we're going to go ahead and start stretching them out. Now, I don't know if I'm going to make full pizzas or flatbreads. This dough lends itself to either. So I can make, with the amount of dough that I made, about 10 3-inch pizzas. I'm sorry, 3 10-inch pizzas, I'm sorry. So that's going to be about it. That's going to be about it. It still smells pretty good, pretty awesome. Let's see. I usually save these bones for the next time I want to make a smoky chicken stock. However, I've still got a lot of these bones left in my freezer. I'll pull them out whenever I need to make a batch of stock, in lieu of going to the store buying stock. The flavor of the stock that you make is going to be better than anything else you can buy. That fat, that collagen that leaches from these bones is what makes it truly an experience on its own. All right. Get all that skin out. This chicken cooked a bit faster than I thought it would. Before I had the chicken on there, we had a bit more wind than we did today. It took It took, you know, a few hours, but it was also a larger chicken. So this was about a 4 pound, right at 4.5 pound chicken. Not mad at it. All right, so this is all we're gonna do to this chicken. Get some of the skin out that made it in there. And again, the way I cook this is to ensure that we have a nice juicy product even when it's on top of our pizzas. Other than that, this will get another round of seasoning, since the only thing that was really seasoned using that dry brine was salt. So I can tell that this has been seasoned. That's part of that juiciness. We're getting around in these juices as well. We don't want that to go to waste. And then I'll set this aside, let it cool off some, get my other items ready, and then I'll bring you guys back. Smells absolutely delicious. You can definitely tell this is a rotisserie chicken. Stay tuned. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get our white sauce, aka bechamel, down. Real simple. We've got flour. We've got alright, let me show you what we've got. We've got flour. We've got heavy cream. We've got some minced garlic. We've got sun-dried tomatoes. I've got the yellow onion. This is a whole medium yellow onion. I've got black pepper, all the other Italian ingredients, Italian seasonings. We've got granulated garlic, crushed red pepper, rosemary, onion powder, and ground white pepper. I've got white wine, and I've got butter. Let's get to it. Let's go. Let's get to it. All right. So I've got my pan on here at medium heat. I've got some butter I was using this morning. Just going to start everything off. Now a bechamel is usually butter, flour, and then you deglaze with some white wine, or you can use heavy cream and milk. It's whatever you have on hand. I particularly didn't go to the store to directly cook this, but this is going to be my white sauce for my pizzas that'll be done here later this afternoon. Like I said, I've got my actual dough setting out, waiting on my family to return from the store, so I might not make these right away. I want them to still be pretty hot when everybody bites in, right? But I can go ahead and make this white sauce beforehand, and we won't have any issues. You just put it in a container, put it in your fridge, or just leave it out, because it's still going to be pretty warm. All right, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to get that butter melted, and then I'm going to get all my veggies in here. So we're going to go in with our onion, or diced onion. Want that to soften. Not necessarily looking for color, but I do want it to soften. Again, we're on a medium heat. I'm going to bump the heat just a little bit to get this going. I'm going to hit this with a little bit of salt to get these onions started breaking down. Kosher salt, that's what we're using. Pinch of kosher. Alright, get them mixed. Nothing too high. Alright. In the meantime, we can also go ahead and add in the garlic. I'm not really worried about the garlic burning, because before we get to that stage, when I bump my temp, it'll have liquids here in the pan. Give that a good mix. And these onions along with this bechamel, will also be cooked off again in the oven. Smelling pretty good already. Alright, I'm also going to go in with my sun-dried tomato. A little bit of acidity. I left some of the juice in there as well. Now, I kind of find myself at a disadvantage. I absolutely love making tomato-based sauces, whether that's for spaghetti, lasagna, or pizza. So we're going to draw some flavor out of this and make sure that this is the best white sauce we've ever had, to make sure that these pizzas or flatbreads are absolutely packing flavor. Alright, it's starting to come to a simmer. Now, I'm going to let this roast off for a little bit, and then I'm going to go in with my white wine. Not necessarily a deglaze, because I'm not going to cook this until the butter has withered away, but we are going to cook the alcohol out of that white wine. A simple bechamel would have just been butter, flour, which also stands as the base of a roux. However, we're not going as dark. We're going to keep this as light as possible. Maybe blonde, but again, that's a basic bechamel. I've used bechamels before in my lasagnas. It's actually pretty good. Adding that cream, as that cream cooks down, that cream adds a sweetness to this, and then of course you bump in a couple of pinches of salt and pepper, and it helps. It helps up against that acidity that tomatoes can bring. Now I'm going to go in probably with a little bit, about half of this bottle. All right. It also helps us to stop that garlic from burning. Turning my fire down a little. And then we're going to cook that alcohol out of this. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead. So I'm going to add that whole bottle of that. And I don't want this too thick. I don't want it too thin. I want it spreadable on my pizza. Nothing too hard. Again, anything I've done here up to this point, you can absolutely do yourself. Put your own spin on it. Get that fire back up again. And now we're going to cook some of that alcohol off. Bring it back up to the boil. Alright, smells pretty good. I know those onions are softened. Now we're going to go ahead and let's get to the base of this bechamel. Alright. Going with one. Typically, a good rule of thumb is equal parts flour to equal parts liquid. We're going to stretch it out with this cream as well. Alright. That's enough for now. If I need it a little bit more, the flour is to my side. Now, looks like a gravy because, again, it's almost the base of gravies, base of roux. I made that gumbo the other week. I made a roux. The butter, aka flour and oil, was the base. And you see this thickening up, and that's okay. That's okay. Keep it moving. Again, we're not getting any dark, bold color to this. We do need to cook that flour out. The worst thing you can do is not cook that flour out, and then when you taste this bechamel, it'll taste just like raw flour. So we need to cook that rawness out of this flour. Alright. So that's been a few minutes. Leave it again. Get my fire down. I don't want to add too much color to this. We're going to go in with heavy cream. It's about a cup. Now heavy cream will thicken on you, so I'm going to thin that out with some water. We're going to also go in with a little bit of water. Now, I should have been stirring when I added everything, but that's fine. We'll stir now. Stirring actually helps to knock some of those lumps out. As you can see, it clumped up. And this stirring is going to help declutter some of those clumps. You don't want to be chewing on that. You'll see me taking I'm going to turn my heat up a little bit. The heat absolutely helps as well. Okay. Alright, we're going to switch from the wooden spoon to a whisk. Still going to be pretty thick. We use about 3 or 4 heaping tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Still pretty thick, so we're going to have to thin it out some more. And next we'll get on with our seasonings. Smells pretty good. You can still smell that wine. Get some more water here. Still fairly thick. I'd say that's about a cup and a half. Right at 2 cups of water. You can absolutely use milk. I'm out of milk. Still going to be flavorful and delicious. I think the last time I made a bechamel, I haven't made it in a while, maybe that'll be another upcoming video. I usually make a seafood lasagna. This sets that lasagna off. It's a white seafood lasagna. It's filled with, generally the base of the seafood is crawfish tails. And then whatever else you want to put in there. I usually go crawfish tails and a little shrimp. It's absolutely delicious. So it's still a little bit thick. As this sits, this will still thicken up. So I want it thin, because this is going to be off the fire for a bit. I want those pieces to still be pretty warm, again, when my family returns from the store. So this is looking pretty good for now. Yeah, we might go ahead and add in a little bit over 2 cups total of water. I still want this to have some body, right? I don't want it to be too thin. I don't want it to be too thick either. I want it to be spreadable. Alright? Now we're going to start our seasoning process. Now, I don't have a whole bunch of heat on this. Again, the higher the heat, it'll come to a ball. It's going to continue getting thick. Right? So we're going to go in with some Italian seasoning. Italian seasoning. Alright. We're going to go in with some granulated garlic. Some crushed red pepper. Onion powder. Black pepper. ground white pepper. And some rosemary. Not crushing the leaves down. Alright, and we're going to give it a mix. And this is now what we're going to start tasting. Notice I didn't put any salt in this. That'll come here shortly. Those onions were salted. Right? Get all that stuff off the side. That is flavor. I'm going to turn that heat up a little bit. I'm going to give me a little bit more water because this is still thick. A little bit more water. Heading towards 2.5 cups. So this, the white sauce I do not use, will absolutely freeze. So I would put this in a Ziploc. It's about the consistency I'm looking for. Put this in a Ziploc and get into my freezer if I don't use it. Freeze is fine. Alright, now we are going to get a taste of this. It's good, but it's missing some salt. The longer this simmers, the thicker it'll get, which is why I'm using some water to thin it out. Now I'm going in with a hefty pinch of salt. And I think the last thing I'm gonna put in here is some chicken bouillon. That has salt in it in itself, which is why I didn't go crazy with the salt. Let's give it a taste. That's it. It's coming. I'm gonna sprinkle some chicken bouillon in here. It's about a teaspoon. Hefty teaspoon. Give it a mix. Just remember, because I use that cream, this is going to have a bit of a sweetness to it. However, with all the additional flavorings I add in, to include salt, it's going to help minimize that sweetness. But just a byproduct of simmering anything with heavy cream in it, that sweetness usually comes to head. Looking good. And most importantly, still staying white. Pretty good. Still missing something. We're gonna hit it a little bit more Italian seasoning. You can go in here with some MSG. I'm not today. I use a lot of MSG depending on what I'm cooking. It's a flavor enhancer. A little bit more water, starting to thicken up. Turn my fire down. Let's see where we at. Pretty good. Doesn't need any more salt. Still feel like I'm missing something though. Just go with a little bit more granulated garlic. And some onion powder. This, the flavorness will develop the longer it sits. So I'm about done applying the heat to it. We're going to take this off the heat. It'll cool a bit, and then I'll get it into a jar. Easier to handle as I start prepping these pizzas. It's looking pretty good. I like the consistency. Delicious. Alright, stay tuned. My bechamel is finished. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. Again, this will sit here and thicken a little bit more. I may still introduce some more moisture to it. Stay tuned. I'll be back when I'm getting ready to put these pieces together. Alright, let's go ahead and finish this video off. I've already done me a little tester. That came out pretty good. I'll post a pic here shortly. This dough, never done my dough like this before, but it came out absolutely phenomenal. Still has a bit of lift and rise in the oven. Don't critique me on my dough making process, my shaping process, because again, I don't do this every day. But this, we're going for a bit of a thin crust. Not going to get too caught up on the shape. Promise it's going to be delicious. That last one was. Alright, we got this on here. So this is a pizza pan, a steel, dark steel pizza pan. You see this dough still has a bit of some bubbles in it. As I come across them, I get rid of the bubbles. The bubbles actually add to the crumb of this pizza dough. Alright, that's about it for now. I've already gotten my oven and my pizza stone preheated to 500 degrees. Yes, I still use a pizza stone because it promotes even cooking of the crust that you can't see. That last one has some good color on the bottom. Maybe going to stretch it out to going 2 minutes longer at 500 degrees. Currently on this pan, we're going to take it from 10 to 15 minutes. It might go a minute or two longer, right? So let's start dressing this puppy. Got my sauce. Not going to go too heavy on the sauce. Again, I'll have leftovers. This will freeze just fine for a few months. There's that white sauce. It's pretty good. Putting it in the oven totally changes the flavor that's currently even cooking on a stove. That oven does something. I guess at 500 degrees, it's roasting. Not going to go with a lot of sauce. This is probably going to be about it. We're going to try to stretch this to the ends. I expect this dough still going to get some puff to it, although I'm going for more of a thin crust situation. I don't mind the little lift that it has on it. Like the way that looks. Alright, that's about it. You can see all those little fixings that we got in that white sauce. That's fine. One of the worst things you can do when you're making pizza is overload it. Takes a little bit longer to get done. So now we're gonna go on with some of our shredded chicken. Again, we're gonna go with cheese first. I like that. Here's my cheese. This is freshly shredded. I've had it setting in my fridge. So this is a pepper jack and low moisture mozzarella. I've tried it with the other mozzarella, full fat, full moisture, and that moisture comes out when you're baking this, and it makes for a soggy pizza. Real simple. It is said that you still want to see gaps on your pizza, right? Alright. Then we're going to go some of this chunk chicken. Some of the chunk chicken. This is that rotisserie chicken. You can still smell those rotisserie flavors. seasoned real nicely. Real nicely, something like that. A little bit more of these crumbs. All right, now we're gonna go. I've got some red onions. Some red onions, we're gonna get that on there. Again, real simple. Want to try to do something different for this cook. I am now trying to adapt how I actually cook in my kitchen and bring in some smoky elements from, you know, me cooking outside on the grill. And that's kind of where we're going to be going forward on this channel. Trying to do some basic dishes that people do every day. Believe it or not, there are people that eat pizza every day. I don't believe that it's homemade, you know, fast food, more than likely. That looks good like that. We're going to hit it with a little bit more sauce, just a little. A little salt. Looks good. Now, a little bit more cheese. I've got one other pizza I'm going to make, but it'll be off camera, but it will be in my my picture for this video. This cheese actually came through pretty good. Not too salty, not too heavy on the salt content, seeing as how I salted that chicken down. And I added other seasoning to it once it was completely pulled. And we're going to get some cheese on the edge of this pizza. Like what happens when that cheese melts, turns golden brown. Like that. No, you guys still hear beeping in the background. Proud to say I've got some new fire alarms, smoke detectors that I'll be putting in probably this afternoon. I know you guys been getting on me. I'll get that changed. I got a few beef strips I'm gonna put on here. This is from a prior cook. I've had it in my freezer, chilling out. What a better way to use leftovers than on a pizza. I think that's going to be it. Now, I think that's going to be it, guys. I'm going to hit it. Okay, looking good. As I said before, I've got my oven preheated to 500 degrees. I don't have to preheat it again because it's been that way for the past hour or so. That pizza stone promotes even cooking. The last one I took out, I hit it with some sriracha and some ranch. Absolutely phenomenal. One of the best pizzas I've made. This dough kind of has upped my pizza game a lot. That overnight ferment, constant proofing and reproofing. I actually like it, like the flavors coming off of it. So this is a garlic powder, and that's going to be it. So I'm going to pop this into my oven. We're going to go on this for about it's going to be 500 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes. I might let it go more towards the 20-minute side since this is a bigger pizza. Actually, let me bring you guys with me. Let me take you with me. So look, there's a pizza stone. You see it's at 500. Get this on. I did oil this down, right? I don't want no sticking. I want that piece to go ahead and come up off there. Now, we're gonna go timer. 1500 on. There you have it. Stay tuned. That's what we're looking like. YouTube, B Smokehouse, we back. So here is one of the pizzas that I actually finished. I actually like the way this came out. Let's talk about what we did. There's a lot of stuff that I actually did off camera, for fear that it will take up most of my most of the space on my SD card. So this video was actually about the actual rotisserie chicken and how it was going to be used. That rotisserie chicken was about 4.5 pounds. I took it out the package. We seasoned it with salt overnight. I hit it with Morton's Kosher Salt. I put it on a cookie rack and I put it in my fridge. That cooler absolutely helps dry that skin out. The use of that salt, and it could be table salt, but you'll need to use a lot less. That's known as a dry brine. There's also a wet brine, but we use the dry brine. I got up the next day. I got a wood fire started on my Weber Kettle 22-inch using my rotisserie attachment. That rotisserie attachment I don't think has ever been on my channel before. However, I have done a few cooks with it. I absolutely love that rotisserie chicken flavor. You can see throughout the entirety of the cook that chicken had fat coming off of it. So that chicken actually was an air-dried chicken that I got from my local grocery store. A little bit different than your commodity chicken. Costs a little bit more too. Tastes different. That chicken on the rotisserie took about right at 2 hours. The skin got a little bit darker than I would have preferred it. However, it really didn't matter because we weren't using the skin. But the next time I do a chicken that we're going to use the chicken in its entirety, I will cut back on my fire. Now, off camera, I did prepare a pizza dough, and you can see we got some great color. This is where that cheese has started to leach down the sides, and we got some great caramelization. No burning. Can you see that? No burning. I've already eaten, 2 slices. When me and my daughter split one this size. I've also got one that's a bit rustic in nature. This one is a bit rustic in nature as well, right? But that's truly thin crust. Let's go ahead and cut this and let's see what we have. Got a pizza slicer. I usually start from the middle. So these pizzas, I was running my oven at 500 degrees. The thin crust one over there took about 9 minutes because it's so much thinner, while these took the entirety of the 15 minutes. These are a bit thicker. There's no real method to the madness. I like them both. Just want to try experimenting. I've made pizzas before, but none came out this good, to be honest. Let's see what we got. We're gonna get a slice. Can you see that? It looks pretty good. That dough is set up. It's a bit crispy. Can you see that? This looks pretty good. Let's go in for a taste. That white sauce is amazing. So honestly, when I made that bechamel on the stove, it tasted actually pretty good. However, because it set on top of a pizza in the oven at 500 degrees for 15 minutes, the flavors and that bechamel combined with the rotisserie notes of that chicken, combined with those red onions, combined with the edges that's coated in butter and garlic powder, actually complements each other. But that bechamel has actually deepened in flavor. Tastes absolutely delicious. Tastes better than when I tasted it off the stove. I was a bit worried when I tasted it off the stove. I was like, man, this is lacking depth. If you guys remember, I kept saying, man, it's missing something. It's missing something. That 15 minutes in the oven at 500 degrees actually, it picked up those notes. It deepened the tones, deepened the flavor. I love this crust. Look at the crumb on this crust. It's got some heft to it, and it's holding up. It's not soggy. It's holding up. I love that. that rotisserie chicken is absolutely delicious. You get those notes. Now just remember, on the outside was hit with salt. Once I pulled all the chicken off the bone, I hit it with salt, pepper, and some other Italian spices. They do shine through. It's not overly salty. Has a nice subtle flavor. This is actually banging. My daughter ate like 3 or 4 slices already, and she's coming back for more. Hey, if you guys haven't done so and you've made it this far, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm a work in progress. Every day I aim to get better, bring you guys better content. So probably in the next few months you'll notice a change in the way that I do things with my channel. It's only in an effort to get better. Thank you for the appreciation and support. Be Smokehouse. To the next video. Out.